Okay, guys, production number 2 coming here, all right? It's coming live from room 231 on the Orange team. All right. Some people, have asked, requests, hey, Mr. Ray, can you make a video about data tables? Because some people tend to struggle, all right? So we're going to take a look at that today, all right? And I chose to use our most recent lab, which was our adaptation lab with the bird's beak. We had the 4 different islands set up, and you had to gather food, see which beak works best. What I did here was I took a snapshot. All right, so here's the data table that you were given in class that you should have filled in. All right, collected your data throughout the lab. The other thing we need to do is get Microsoft Word up. All right, so I believe we're all familiar with that. And we're just going to slide it over here. You guys know most people are familiar that if you just left click right in the top of the Word document and slide it to the left, you'll have both screens navigating here. Okay? Now, guys, the biggest trouble I see is people don't get themselves organized before they start doing it. All right? And when I say doing it, I mean creating the data table. First thing you want to do is figure out how many columns and how many rows you need. Columns are going vertical. Rows are going horizontal. All right? We had a few issues with that. So I'm going to count out my columns first. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Make a note of that. 6 columns. Then my rows. If I go across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and I'm going to actually say 18 because I always want to account for a row to add my title. So we have 6 columns and 18 rows. Next thing we have to do is insert our data table. Go up to the Insert tab and click on it. All right. Find the Table tab, which is the second one over from the left. Click on that. Now, you can actually use it right here, guys. But if you're making a small data table, this will work. Ours, unfortunately, in this particular lab is large. So you have to manually put in your information. All right. We're going to go to, sorry about that, Insert Table. Okay, I'm going to add my columns, which I said was 6. Okay, click on number 6. And then I'm going to add my rows, which I said 18. So I'm going to enter 18 right there. And then I hit OK. Now, this doesn't look exactly like what you see over here, and I'm going to help you with that. All right? First thing we're going to do, guys, is use our first row for our title. Now, you don't want all these cells individual. You want to merge them. So first thing you have to do is highlight this row. Okay? Right click and see where it says down here merge cells. Click on merge cells and look what you've done. You've combined all these individual cells that you had in the first row and made it one. And the next thing I'm going to do is enter what my title is. And this was our adaptation lab data. Okay, we'll use a simple title here. Okay, so next thing I want to do is I'm going to title my columns. All right, and you can see what your columns are titled right here. All right, first is going to be island. All right, I use the arrow to move it to the right. Okay, the right arrow. I had beak type, trial 1, trial 2, trial 3. Woo! And you know my issues with my laptop here, so it tends to jump around on me, so I apologize for that. Trial 3. And then my last column was average. Okay, and you can see that matches up over here. All right? Guys, I got to be honest with you. It really helps if you're following this. Some people try and create a table without looking at the data sheet. All right? You're just making more work for yourself here. Okay? Okay, so next, guys, now we're going to start doing our rows. Now, a lot of people said to me, well, Mr. Ray, I don't know how to do this part right here. See how that has all this space and then this is smaller? Well, what we have to do is figure out, we have 4 rows in the island section here. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. And I want to merge these to make them 1. Again, remember, we highlight, right click, click on merge cells, there you go. Okay? And the next thing you want to do is you're going to type in island 1, and we're going to use a number sign here. And it was aquatic vegetation, all right? And let's make sure we're spelling things correctly, guys, okay? And you can see that I have it right over here for you, okay? Aquatic, and we're also going to go with vegetation, all right? Very important that we try and spell things properly. All right, and you can see that I left off the T. So, perfect example is always double check your work there. Okay, very important. All right, next thing I want to do is I want to do the same thing for island number 2. All right, so I have this next four set of rows here. Okay, highlight, right click, merge, and I'm going to set them all up right now. So I move down again, right below there. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to merge these cells, and I'm going to do the same thing for the final 4. Okay? And you see how it works. Now I need to plug my information in. Again, I have island number 2, all right, and that was the worms, not the real ones. All right. Island 3 was our seed island. Birds love seeds. And then I also had a 4th island where the food source was nectar. Okay? And that's how it should look, guys. Okay? So there are a lot of tools that you should become familiar with. Okay, so next thing we have to do, guys, is we have to identify the types of beaks we had. Now, again, in class, we went over and we showed a variety of birds, all right, which you have on your pre-lab sheet. But the tools we used to represent some beaks were a pipette, all right, which you can see over to the right, the pliers, let's get that in there, okay. We also had the tweezers, again, this laptop, you know my issues with the laptops, drives me wacky, all right, always jumping around on me. So we have our tweezers, and then last we had the dip net. Okay, now again, guys, we use the same beak type for each island to see which one worked best for different food sources. So instead of retyping everything, all right, how about we just copy and paste, all right? It can, you know, save us some time. It's a quick thing here. Now you see I went individually. I want to show you something that might be easier. If I copy the pipette, all right, I have it copied. I know it's going to be the first one in each island. So I can do that. Next, I'm going to copy the pliers. All right, and I already added it in the second island. Now I'm going to add it in the third. And I'm also, again, going to add it in the fourth. Now I'm going to move on to tweezers. Okay, right click, copy, and paste. Right click, paste, because it's already copied. And last but certainly not least is the dip net. All right, the dip net didn't go over well. A lot of people weren't happy with the dip net. All right, they did like the pliers though. All right, did like the pliers. And this. Now, always double check everything, guys. All right, if you are really looking things over, you'll notice I missed something. Okay, probably in the middle of me talking. However, I missed it. So I got to copy the tweezers again, and I'm going to add it down here. All right, where it belongs, and I make sure I have all my information. All right. Now I want to neaten it up a little bit, so I'm going to highlight my title here, and this always pops up. You're going to center it. Okay. I also am going to bold so my titles stand out. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing all the way down here. All right. I think we didn't have too much of a problem with this step, guys. It was actually the creation of the data table. Okay. And here you go. All right. Your data table is set. I had people trying to draw everything in, and they were getting confused on how I did it. Guys, it's very simple. Sometimes you have to manually enter things in. All right, a lot of people were going up to the table and just saying, oh, well, you know, and I can't do it because I already created it. But Mr. A, it doesn't, it has more than 8. Well, yes, when that's the case, you have to go and manually enter the information yourself. Okay? So here you go. All right, another valuable lesson on how to create a data table. Okay, if you have any other questions, you know, make sure you check with me. All right, stay tuned for the next video. Okay, take care.